Hi, I'm Terry Hitchcock. You're watching a special on-location edition of Harkins Theaters. Behind the screens, you will feel like you are in the 1800s in Emerald Fennell's reimagining of the Emily Bronte classics, one of the most anticipated films of the year. Two of the biggest names in Hollywood take over as Catherine and Heathcliff, Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, and we had a chance to sit with the cast.
What should you do, Heathcliff? If you were rich.
Terry Hitchcock worked with the largest independently owned theater chain in the U.S., Harkins Theaters.
Come on, Harkins.
Thank you.
Harkins.
Let's go Harkins.
Keep fighting the good fight, Harkins.
Well, you saw it a couple weeks ago and said you hadn't wrapped your head around it yet. Have you wrapped your head around it now?
This film. No, I think for me, press is always like a processing period as well, where I say things that I think about it, and then I'm like, I don't think that about it, and I sort of remember the film in a different way. So I'm still processing, I think. She's probably wrapped her head around it.
A little more, because I've seen it a lot of times. So I've had more time and I've seen it throughout the edit process. I've seen it evolve and be versions of the movie that it could have been, and then seen it turn into something else. So I've had more time to do that processing, I suppose. I love what it is. I think the final film that we ended up with is just the one that packs the most emotional punch.
But I feel like you're never able to see it the way we get to see it as a fan, because you're so immersed in it, you're a producer, everything you just mentioned, you never get to see it like we get to see it.
Yeah, I guess, I know. It would be cool to see it and not know what's coming next. Yeah, that'd be nice.
I have to tell you, you've talked on Frankenstein about how the prosthetics, the teeth helped you find the character. What helped the most here?
For me, I mean, there's two versions of the character. There's Heathcliff sort of before he goes away, and then Heathcliff when he comes back. When he comes back, it was the cane. The cane was sort of the most effective thing physically, because he's
swag stick.
He's
Someone
a
called
swag
it
stick.
yesterday. So good.
He stands upright and he pulls his shoulders back for the first time. And then in the early Heathcliff, it was the hair, because he could hide behind it, because everything was hidden and sort of he was in this kind of internal cavern. Yeah.
I know that people have talked about the scene where he lifts you up and those moments. For me, hands down, as steamy as it got, it was when you put the hands up.
Me too.
That out of everything in the film.
Me too.
Why is that?
I don't know. I remember saying that. I was like, that's the most romantic thing. That's so interesting. There are so many like gestures and moments like this throughout the film that I think it's like either when he does that or when he does that, or it's like hands touching just for a second, or even like sticking a finger in a fish's mouth. It's like, you don't know why these things are eliciting such a big feeling in you, but they do, and Emerald's really, really good at finding things like that all throughout, either to just to always enhance the emotional moments.
So good. And I think part of it is because it's so instinctual. He does it out of instinct, just to protect all the time.
He just did it when we rehearsed.
Getting so wet.
But it doesn't matter. Your hands are, you're guarding the most.
But the thing is, that wasn't in the script. That's just something we started rehearsing and there was rain. And I was going like this because the rain machine was on, and he just instinctively, being a gentleman, went to block it for me. And both Emerald and I were like, do that in the scene. That was so romantic.
We don't get a lot of rain in Arizona, but the next time it rains, I'm going to see if my husband pulls that.
No, seriously.
Like, you didn't put your hands over.
I literally thought that. I was like, no one has ever done that for me. I think I said it to my husband. I was like, you've never put your hands over my eyes when it's rain. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm guessing this is something that's happened at work today. I was like,
so you can learn from this film is what you said.
Yes. It's not that hard, guys.
They're going to wrap me in a second, but you brought up the gelatinous fish. So my husband drinks Metamucil, and I have, besides heights, when you drink Metamucil, it leaves this gelatinous residue, and I can't even. And when I saw the fish, that might be the only scene I had to kind of cover my eyes.
You were like, that? Yeah.
It's the best.
I mean, is there anything that you're afraid of when it comes to making a film of this magnitude? Gelatinous fish is my fear, but
for me, it's it being bad.
I was about to say, it's all existential fears for me.
Never work again.
Not doing it justice. I had one of my best friends is obsessed with the book Wuthering Heights, and she's a writer. So this book means so much to her, and I know it means so much to so many people. Honestly, my biggest fear this whole way has been if she hates this at the end, just knowing that the bar was really high for the true hardcore Wuthering Heights. And I'm like that about books I love too. So my biggest fear was just disappointing fans of the book.
Welcome to Wuthering Heights.
Congratulations on this.
Thank you so much.
I know you've talked about wanting to create that feeling you had when you first read this book as a teenager.
Yeah.
Would it be any different had you picked up the book now?
Oh, of course. It's different when I pick up the book now anyway, having made the film. It's different every time you read it. The book is a kind of, it's so vast, it's so incredible that you can see and feel so many things when reading it. But for me, I was just trying to, I like responding physically to things. And so it was the most physical experience I'd ever had reading. And I wanted to make a movie that would hope to give people that physical experience of laughing, of crying, of feeling aroused, of feeling angry, of feeling, devastated.
Well, it's funny. I was telling Jacob and Margot, out of everything in this movie, the thing that took my breath away the most was when he puts his hands over her forehead. It was the simplest of gestures and instinctive. That's when, why is that? Why did that get to me?
Well, because it's all of these, that's the thing, isn't it, about Kathy and Heathcliff and about kind of love in general, is that seeing somebody and but sort of being so close to someone. Kathy says, I am Heathcliff, and he is Kathy too. So it's as easy for him to cover her eyes in the rain as it would be to cover his own. It's just the most moving. It's why we forgive them.
Well, you know why else we forgive them? It is easy when they're good looking. I feel like we let a lot slide.
Oh my good ego. Look, I mean, the thing is that everyone in this movie is divine.
That's true.
It's like, and that's the thing about, and they're all so talented, and it's just, going out in the real world after you've spent every day looking at Margot and Jacob and Alison and Shazad and Hong. It's real. Whenever I looked in the mirror, I was like, oh, sort of absolutely recoiled from myself. It was really sort of troubling. No, I mean, they're magical. And it's not just the beauty that all of them have. The thing about all of them is that they are gifted, supernaturally generous, kind. Everyone who's worked on this movie, there is deep connection and love. And that is, you can only make something like this, I really do believe, if everyone working on it in every department loves and trusts each other.
You led into my next question. As much attention, obviously, as Jacob and Margot get, can we please give props to Owen and Charlotte? Because they set up the entire relationship. And if you don't buy what they're doing, not that we wouldn't buy what Margot and Jacob do, it set everything up.
They are absolutely extraordinary. I mean, Charlotte and Owen, obviously Owen, what was amazing about Owen is he came into audition for this movie before any of us had even heard of Adolescence. It had been shot, but so it was such an extraordinary thing. But that is how good he is. His audition was just so extraordinary. And Charlotte too is just genius. And it's so important for us to understand the connection between them, that it is lifelong, that it is transcendent. And so, and for me, I wanted to make an epic romance, something that, the book actually happens over a very short period of time. And you can do that in a novel, things can happen really fast. But for me, I wanted that feeling of Dr. Zhivago, of Gone with the Wind, of a lifelong, or even Random Harvest, which is one of my favorite movies, something that has lasted for decades and that would last, that is kind of eternal. And so it meant we needed them as children and as adults. And so, we were so lucky.
You've made Valentine's Day very easy for us. Just go to Harkins.com and get a ticket. And Galentine's Day.
May we also say, don't forget the girlies.
Don't forget, and just get a ticket to the film. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I made it the night that Edgar proposed once I knew that you would join us here forever.
You provide we need some comic relief because this was so tense, and every scene you're in, we're just sitting there. I don't know where you find some of that comedy with just your eyes, with just your body movements. But what do costumes do for you? When you find a character, what role do costumes play?
Oh my God, such a huge role. We had Jacqueline Duran was our costume designer, and she is such a genius, and the way that she did everyone's costumes was just so brilliant. But Yeah, I remember when I have like one of those sort of cages underneath my skirt. So every time I walked, I'd have to take really little steps, but it gave the effect that I was sort of floating. And once I had that, I was like, oh, she's sort of like this sort of strange little floater that sort of appears and it's just there and kind of, and those things really, really help you. And obviously the corsets and everything in terms of the period, but I think Isabella is so concerned with clothes and like she you know, like designs Kathy's entire wardrobe, you know. So she's sort of a genius.
She's very talented.
Yeah.
President asked me to marry him.
I love hearing the story that this film was something you watched with your grandma on a VHS.
It's
the greatest story.
Yeah,
it's really the truth. Yeah, she had a little like circular cabinet thing, and it was about 7 VHSs. So every time I'd go down to stay, it was just on loop, and we just drink from her drinks cabinet and just watch. And it was Wuthering Heights. When she would put pictures of Merle Oberon on her. She's got all the old movie stars, but Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, but Merle Oberon's up there, Olivier, and she just cut them out and put them up. So yeah, it's pretty mad how it comes round. Yeah.
Is she still with us?
Yeah, she's 92 in not tomorrow, I think. Yeah.
She may have a heart attack seeing this movie.
So just make it through. Just get through. Like,
Right.
So kiss me. And let us both be damned.